Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of In the Press Box Hockey Podcast. I'm Sam Hossack, as always, joined by Alyssa Sperberg, my co-host. How's it going, Alyssa?
It's going pretty well. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good. Excited about this one. We brought one of your friends on that had a pretty big role recently at a IIHF tournament, so I'll throw it over to you to introduce our guest today.
Yeah, she was the in-game host with the Women's Worlds just in the past few weeks. Everyone, please welcome Kendra Doyle.
Hi. Do you want me to just kind of introduce?
Go ahead and just tell everyone a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
Okay, so my name's Kendra. I was recently the in-game host of the Women's World Championship as well as the chair of event promotions. Kind of ties together. I also work for the Barrie Baycats as the in-game host, on-field reporter, and a little bit of social media, as well as I work for Brock TV, just doing ringside reporting for the men's and women's hockey team. And I'm currently on the Brock Sport Management Council, doing the podcast co-host as well as the social media manager for the podcast. So I'm kind of busy, but it's something that I love. I am right now pursuing a career as a sports reporter / broadcaster, kind of both of those roles. But I started my journey in sports about 2.5 years ago, off with the Barrie Colts, just doing fan experience and game time operations. And then lucky enough, I got in with the Baycats as a reporter and kind of really started my career as a reporter. And then lucky enough, I recently landed the job with the IIHF, and it has been something that really changed my career.
So pretty much Kendra's been slaying the day away.
Sort of.
This is Sophia Yorkshire 2.0 right here.
I'm next. I'm
Yeah.
convinced
So we're gonna gang up on Sam because Sam's a Leafs fan and Kendra and I are both Bruins fans. So we're gonna gang up on him.
We're literally like the Bruins defense duo.
Yeah, we're the Bruins
That
defense
boy,
too.
and she's so it works.
Yeah, it does work. So I told Sam at the beginning, I'm like, Kendra's a Bruins fan, you know that, right? And he goes, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna gang up with you all podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we can't really chirp the Leafs right now because they did win game 2. And like
we just won game 3, so
yeah, true.
Yeah, you guys lost big like we did in game 1 and game 2, so at least Leaf fans can be happy about that. But I will bring this up now though, because I wanted to, and I had said this to Alyssa, I had a bone to pick. And this is for both the Bruins and Panthers players. You're playing in the National Hockey League, and if you're gonna get us into a scrum in the National Hockey League and not drop your gloves and just like throw punches with your gloves on, I don't know how you two feel about this, but like just go sit on the bench and don't play. Like,
or like choke Trent Frederick out too.
Like there was 2 scrums in that last minute of game 2 where there was just pushing and shoving with gloves on, and it's like, really? Like there was at least 2 or 3 of them where they could have easily dropped the gloves and just like got it out. Like,
yeah, I mean the game's over, so you might as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's already 6-2 or whatever the score was. Like they're just giving out misconducts for no reason at that point. I mean, but with you, Kendra, obviously the Women's Worlds, it's a big tournament. So just talk about being only a couple of years into this journey and having a tournament like that right there for you to do.
Yeah, so I'll kind of like break down like how it went down and how I got the opportunity. So I'm like a LinkedIn fanatic. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like my specialty. I am on it so much, and like I'm always just looking for new connections, and I'll always reach out to people. But I was just scrolling. I was in a seminar one day and I was just scrolling through my feed and I saw IIHF Women's World Championship Brampton. I was like, Brampton's close. Like this could be a good opportunity. So I click it and I was like, you know what? Like I want to volunteer like just to be at the tournament. And I was looking through the roles and it said like social media, in-game host, event promotions, and like there I'm like, boom, 3 things that I've literally done. Except for the hosting, but like a lot of reporters have hosted and a lot of hosts report. So it kind of like ties in together, which was my specialty. And also hosting is like very much about your personality and like kind of just bringing that out. So I put in for my 2 selections, in-game host and event promotions. And it just asked me like a bunch of questions, and then I applied. And about a week later, I heard back from the coordinators of Hockey Canada just asking to schedule a meeting with me about the position of the in-game host. And I was like someone who I set the standards high, and like if I don't reach them, I'm like, crap, like this is like that sucks. But like life goes on. But I just like wanted to apply to get my name out there kind of. And lucky enough, like they offered it to me. The interview went really well, and they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you as our in-game host. Like you have a very bright and bubbly personality. Like this could be really good. So I was super excited, and this was in like I'm gonna say end of February. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the tournament needs to come now. Like I'm so excited, but at the same time, I'm super nervous. So I ended up getting the position as the in-game host, but also as the chair of event promotions. So that led me to being in charge of my event promotions like committee, scheduling them, making sure everyone knows what to do, knows what our goal is for the whole tournament. So I had about 12 volunteers in that. And I learned a lot. Like I've never scheduled anyone before, but I learned a lot from that process. It was kind of a really good like learning curve for me because I did not know much about it, and I was very scared about what was going to happen. But it went well. And then months go by, the tournament's like getting closer and closer. And I kind of reached out to a girl who I noticed was in the committee, and I was like, this is someone that I've looked up to for about a year. Her name's Emmy Curtis. I'm sure Alyssa, you've heard of her. Emmy's amazing. I have so many good things to say about her. She's incredible, and like working with her is just like it's amazing. She's so talented. She's so determined. Very much like reminds me of myself. Like I was very happy to find out that we would be able to do this journey together. So Emmy was the co-chair for the event promotions committee and helped me through everything. So the tournament came, and Emmy was like my right-hand woman. Like she was right there beside me the entire time, helping me, leading me. Like it was great to have her right by my side, as a support system, as someone who just is so determined and passionate about everything she does, and a bright and amazing personality. So we got to do that journey together. She always would cue me for all my hits, as well as just be my dance partner. Like the whole tournament we were dancing. Like you could look up in the stands, and like we were not dancing. Like it was just music came on as dance party. And then we also had our third woman, Caitlin. Caitlin, honestly, she was not scheduled every shift she was at. She just like we bonded with her the first day, and the second day we were like, want to just like keep coming in? And she was like, yeah. So we were kind of like the dream trio because we did everything together, and just like we just had a great time. Like those are 2 friendships that I came out of it with, and I'm so like thankful for, because we're all 3 of us are super hardworking and like determined in the sports industry. But to talk more about like the tournament, I worked 3 to 4 games a day. Most of them were like kind of the same thing. Like it's just like those hits. Like we have our volunteer of the day, our SO prize pack. So that includes like picking fans out from stands just to make sure that they get an opportunity to win a prize, and then getting their chance to kind of be on the Jumbotron. And like every little kid like loves that opportunity. So it was cute to see like all the smiles that brought. Our Canada games were so amazing. We had dance cam. We had so many great like prizes that we could get fans engaged with, and it was just really cool to see like all the interactions all of the tournament brought. And I think a really big thing was us bringing the energy that we have kind of like lifted the crowd. And the crowd was like always so happy to see us. All the fans were like amazing. It's like everywhere we went, it was you guys are doing so good. You guys are doing great. And that's like a big reassuring thing for someone who has never hosted before, to know that the fans are like they're on board and they love what we're doing has been like, it was very much like reassuring for us to know that we are doing a good job. But just getting that opportunity was really big, and it made me realize that like dreams do come true, because I would have never believed anyone if they told me I was going to be the in-game host of a IIHF tournament when I was like 7. I would never believe them. So the fact that I was is something I'm forever thankful for, and all the connections that came out of it. All the Hockey Canada staff are amazing, great group of people. All of them were so amazing to work with, so cooperative, so caring and respectful. I have nothing but good things to say about them. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity and everything that kind of came out of it. So, yeah.
Now, I'm sure Alyssa has quite a few questions for you, but we'll get to those in a minute. But one thing I like to ask having athletes and stuff on is, when you get a jersey when you're playing for a team and see your name on it for the first time, kind of what it means. And obviously you got a jersey from Hockey Canada that had Brampton on the back. But just talk about getting a jersey given to you by Hockey Canada. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, so I was given a jersey to wear because the jerseys that I was seen in the entire tournament was one that was specially made for the tournament for Brampton. So it was really cool to be able to wear that. But they gave me a custom jersey at the end of the tournament for me to take home. So they gave me a Canada jersey with my last name on it, and then it says 23. And I cried when I was given it. I literally had full waterworks because they had only given it to like a few people, I'm pretty sure, from what I heard. So that was very special because it was kind of like a reassurance, like for myself to be like, wow, like I did do good, and like these people really respect like what I did. And it was just like something that they didn't have to do, but they did. So I was super thankful to see like my name on the back of like a Hockey Canada jersey, and like having the IIHF logo on the little bottom right corner. Like it was really cool to see, and something that I'm really forever thankful for, because it made me miss the tournament a little bit more. I mean, we were crying the whole last day. Like, we're like, no, we don't want to talk about this. Like, it can't be over. But it was really nice to just have like that appreciation. And now I get to hang it up in my room, and it's like a memory sake of all the good times and like what my life was like for 12 days. And it just like reminds me that it only goes up from here. And maybe one day I'll be able to wear that jersey again while I'm hosting a tournament, like the IIHF, like World Juniors or something like that. It kind of like is just a reminder to keep going, and like this is what you get when you put your all into something and it turns out great. So yeah.
Now I'll throw it over to Alyssa to ask a couple questions here.
Okay, I did see you were definitely busted down a move. I did see that a lot. What was like your definitely go-to dance move, and every time there was a song playing?
I don't even know. Andy and I had a lot. Like we had a lot. Like
Well, I saw you guys going. Yeah.
when Canada scored, like we would hit the lasso, because there was like, I don't even remember the song name, but it was like lasso. And like we were just lassoing. We did the Cotton Eye Joe a lot, like a lot. But it was also like those little like just some arm movements. Like that was probably our go-to. Or we would get up and just jump. Like it was something as simple as that. Just to keep the energy flowing. Like we had fans videotaping us because we were just constantly like in any section, just like busting a move, and they loved it. Like they feed off that energy. So if we were dancing, they were dancing.
What was your favorite game that you worked from the tournament? If you could pick maybe one or two, if you can pick one.
There's so many.
That's gonna be an easy one.
I would say the Canada US first game. not the gold medal game. That was a little sad. But I would definitely say the first Canada-US game, because like that was a nail biter. Like it wasn't a blowout. Like we knew that it was gonna be back and forth. So the whole energy, like that building was sold out, and the energy between like those fans and the players, like you could tell the players were just feeding off the energy. And it went into a shootout, like literally like I don't even know how many rounds, but it went for a long time. And I just remember like all of the fans on their feet, and we score. And that was like something I'll remember, because like everyone was like, you could see in the crowd, everyone's hugging. And I just thought that was like so special. So yeah, I would definitely say that game, but also the gold medal game, because I've never like witnessed that like live. So I would say that one. I mean, obviously it was a little unfortunate for the results, but I'm not allowed to be biased. I guess I can be now because it's over. But that was a really cool game, because like it was the last time we were seeing all of the fans, which was kind of sad. Like there was these fans who were in the section, so we did all of our hits in section 4, just for the camera. And there was this group of ladies from Sault Ste. Marie and Hamilton, and they were so sweet. Like you probably saw it, Alyssa, but they wrote us a card at the end of the tournament,
my God.
like just like thanking us and like telling us that we made their 2023. And also just like the amount of like little girls who would follow me on TikTok and like literally commented and was like, you did awesome. Like I had so much fun. Like that's like so memorable for me. So like just saying bye to fans was like a little bit sad, but those two games, I guess the Canada-US games kind of win, because obviously those are two good hockey teams, men's and women's. So those are probably my two favorite ones. It's hard to pick though. The whole tournament was great and I loved it.
And then I'll go one more. I know you got to meet a couple of the players, right? So who was one of your favorite people to meet at the tournament?
So I met
talk to.
Poulet and I met Nurse. Poulet, I met her on the first day and I kind of was starstruck. Like I didn't know what to do. I was like, I've watched you my whole life. Like, what is happening? But I met her the first day because I was getting the jersey that they had given me to wear. And she looked at it and she's like, oh, that's gorgeous. And I was like putting it on. She was like, that looks so good. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. So that was really cool to just kind of see her like up person. Like she's such a good person. I also just love her as a hockey player. Like her hockey style is so sick. Like, sorry, but I love her hockey style. And then Sarah Nurse, it was like one of those moments where Emmy and I were against the board. We were against glass and we looked to our right. And like, this is the time that I was getting that video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Hockey Canada released a video of me on their YouTube. And I was mic'd up and he like the video talk, like he had the headphones in his ear. And I go to Emmy, I go, Emmy, that's Sarah Nurse. And like Sarah Nurse is like sitting right beside us. And I was like, that's Sarah Nurse. I mean, that's Sarah Nurse. And like this guy's hearing it. He goes, they're fangirling over you to Sarah Nurse. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, you can't do that to me right now. I was like, yeah. And then like Sarah's like, oh, like, hi. And then he goes, this is our in-game host. And she goes, you're doing so good. Like, oh my gosh. And I was like, thanks. I was like, you really just called me out right now. Like, you really called me out. But it was really cool to just like be up and close with her, and like she's so nice. But also like another thing, like not even just the players, the TSN staff. Like I was starstruck. I met all of my idols. I met Cheryl Parker.
Yeah.
Like I met Kenzie. I met Julia. I met Megan. Like I met all of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a dream. And now like to the fact I was mutuals with them, like it was like a hey, how are you every day, and like conversations. Like that's like a childhood dream of mine. Cheryl Pounder is one of my best friends' aunt. So she called me on New Year's Eve and like just told me 2023 is gonna be your year. Little did I know that I'd be working at the same tournament as Cheryl Pounder. But yeah, she was amazing. Getting to meet her was like Emmy and I both like fangirled so hard and probably fainted. Seeing Julia's so talented. I love her.
I love Julia.
She's so sweet and so talented at her job. Same with Regan. Same with Kenzie. Kenzie's so cool. Shout out to Kenzie. She is so cool. I think they're awesome. All of them were amazing. So just getting to like be around them was so cool and so surreal.
We
Yeah.
gotta get Alyssa to somehow meet Pouline now because she's the only one in this call that hasn't now. So we gotta
Okay.
Let's just DM Poulin. Let's just spam.
Yeah. I got it. I'll just start spamming her, like, hey, so you met my friends, so you like want to meet me too? To complete the trio?
Yeah.
Now, is there anyone else from other teams that you were able to meet that you were kind of like, okay, like that was a cool experience, or was it just mainly like the Canadian girls you kind of interacted with?
They're like, I didn't really get a lot of opportunities to like stop and talk to them, obviously, because the moments I would see them, they were about to play hockey. But like there was moments where like I saw Hillary Knight and like she was like right there and like smiled at me and I smiled at her. I was like, hey, like she's so good at hockey. Like obviously she's kind of the enemy because of Canada and US, but she's very talented. She's a great hockey player, and I think seeing her was really cool. Same Kessel's sister. I was like, okay. I was like, hey Kessel. But also Mueller on Switzerland. Really cool to see her because I watched her get nominated for, I can't remember the name of the trophy, but there was recently a female hockey player award. And so I remember she was one of the contestants, and I've seen her, like I watched the NCAA a lot. And seeing her was really cool because I was like, wow, like she is really good. So kind of be able to see them and like just watch a lot of hockey was like just a cool experience for me because obviously the rink was like my life for 12 days. And it's just like that's like, yes, that's what I want in life. So just getting to see all of them up close and just watch a lot of hockey was really cool.
Sam, you made Sam really happy because Sam was a huge Alina Mueller fan.
Yes, I love Mueller. Like
I work with her as an like because I sponsor a bunch of girls in NCAA and I sponsored her near like for the last like month and a half of the season this year. So got to work with her a little bit. So yeah, she's an amazing person on and off the ice. And an amazing hockey player. Like she made the Olympics at 15 years old for Switzerland. Like that's unheard of. And she's played in the last 3 Olympics for them. She's basically the Pouline of Switzerland. Let's just put it that way, honestly. But yeah, that award, the Patty Kazmaier award, it's the award that you mentioned. And yeah, she was a finalist for it. And Alyssa and I talked about this on the podcast, and I think we both pick Mew?
I think we did because we were like this. She had like so many points and just like a great like year, and we're like, there's no way she doesn't win, but she didn't win. So we're kind of like,
we had her near the top, but I think we picked Sarah Dockney, who played for Canada this year, because she had like.
Oh, that's right, we did. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Canadians as a finalist too.
And I don't know if you would have probably noticed this that much, Kendra, at the tournament, but Danielle Sarandokny, who played on Canada, she had like an unreal year in the NCAA, and she was like kind of unnoticed kind of at the tournament, but like still had a good tournament. Like
yeah, I did. I noticed her because I realized I was like, I think she was up for that award too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure she was like a finalist.
she had like 70 points this year, and Alyssa and I thought she was like the easy takeaway winner for it. But I mean, it's kind of tough in NCAA when you have 70 points and you don't win the award, I feel like, because that's just like an unbelievable season. But straying away from the women's world a little bit here, you kind of mentioned that you watch NCAA. So, what's your kind of go-to team if you have one, and how much do you kind of watch it?
So I briefly watched like the NCAA for women's just because I am more of like, I mean, I watch the women's like international tournament. I try to catch as many like NCAA games as I can. I'm big Boston girl, so I have to stick with Boston schools. Like that's just like always how I've been for like honestly any sport. So I would definitely say like Boston University is like my go-to.
That's my go-to too.
I just love them. And that's where Charlie McAvoy went. So like, I kind of am just like a bandwagon. I'm like NCAA for Boston University. Like, I love you. Like, I have to. So I definitely watch those two schools. There's a lot of like Canadian girls who are also from like here, like Ontario, and they're going to Boston University. So it'll be cool to catch them next year there. And something I'll definitely pay attention to because obviously I like when people from here are gonna go to Boston because I hope that they're a Bruins fan.
Yeah, we've kind of got it lined up already. Alyssa and I talked about it, but Sid Healy, rookie this year from their team, and their new coach Tara Watchhorn is going to come on the podcast at some point. And I want to give a shout out, Alex Law from the Durham West junior team that I worked with last year, and I'm back with this year. She's going to Boston University next year. So excited to see her and the other 10 seniors that are moving on from our team play at the college level. A couple of them are playing youth sports as well. So excited to see what those girls do. But you mentioned before that your dad played for the Sudbury Wolves. So just talk about growing up kind of around the Sudbury area, I'm assuming, and seeing the behind the scenes of Sudbury Wolves.
Yeah, so like I'm from here. I was born here. But obviously like my dad kind of always like told me about Sudbury and like I would go up there once in a while as a kid and just like see it because my grandma was still living there when I was young. So obviously I've been the Wolves like forever. I can't even remember like I like every time the Wolves are in anywhere close to here, we're going. Like we're just going. So it was like cool because like my dad has always told me all his stories from the OHL. So I kind of grew up with all of that, like every being told everything, like all his stories and what he did. I'm like, oh boy, like okay, like you had fun. But it's just cool to like know how much the OHL has like changed and like developed because obviously it's going to be different from the time he was 18 to now the kids who are my age and playing in the OHL. Like it changes over time. But it's really cool just to like know everything he did and like obviously like I'm not playing in the OHL. So it's kind of cool to be living like his dream, but in a different perspective because I'm the one who's now like I'm doing sports reporting and he loves that. Like I feel like that's any father's dream for his little girl to be working in sports and kind of just having a really dominant position at a young age. Like I've never met anyone more proud of me than my dad. Like he is so happy for me and like my biggest supporter. So it's really cool to see like he had his time to live out his dreams in sports and like now I get to live out my dreams in sports and kind of get to like he's the person I always talk to the Bruins like we always talk about the Bruins like it's always us watching the Bruins games together constantly talking about it like he was the one who raised me to work in sports like it was never a pressure thing ever. It was more of we talked about sports so much that I couldn't see my life anywhere else. So I would say like it was really cool to like have him play in the OHL. Like obviously it sucks I didn't get to see that, but I got to hear all the stories, so I kind of felt like I was a part of that. Um, and Sudbury's great. Like obviously everyone hates on Sudbury, but I love Sudbury. Like we talked about moving there for so long. So I mean, I'd go to Sudbury. Like I have friends there. Like my childhood best friend moved there. I have other friends there. So like they have Lake Ramsey. Like it would be cool to move there. But I think Sudbury's great. I mean, I live in Innisfil, so they're kind of the same.
So every OHL team kind of has a tradition here and there. North Bay in the playoffs, they come out of a tank. And there's some other teams that kind of do cool things like effects on and off the ice. But there's one thing that everyone knows in Sudbury, and I guarantee you know what I'm talking about. How cool is it to see that wolf come across the ice when they score?
Yeah, it's so sick. Like, and that wolf is old. Like, I think they changed it not too long ago, but like, it's old. But it's really cool. Like, I know everyone when they've gone to like a game in Sudbury, they're always like, I love seeing that. Like, it is a really cool thing, and I think it's a good feature for them to have. Because that's like it engages the crowd even more, and like everyone kind of wants to go to the rink just to see that because that rink is really old. Like it's been the same rink since my dad was playing there. And like my dad's still up on the walls and everyone's like, "Oh, there's your dad." I'm like, "Yeah, like yeah." Um but it's so cool, and I think that's like a tradition even if they do build a new rink that they have to keep that. Maybe make it a little bit bigger, like if you make the rink bigger, like maybe expand it. But I think it's so sick. Like that's a good thing to have because I don't even know like what other OHL teams have, but Sudbury, I know like they're known for that. So that's a cool tradition that they have, and I think it's smart because if they score a lot, hey, you get to see the wolf go across the ice like so many times.
Do you know what we're talking about, Alyssa?
No. I'm just going with it. It sounds cool.
So at Sudbury Wolves games, they have a wolf that hangs from the rafters on like a string, and every time Sudbury scores, it comes like across the ice and like it like howls too. Like they have it make noise too. So it's one of the
That
things.
sounds sick.
I think it's honestly like some teams have like North Bay, as I mentioned, they come out of a tank that's like a blow up thing before games, and a couple other teams do it. The Colts did it. I'm sure Kendra, if you remember from going to Colts games over the years, they used to have to like blow up Charlie horse that they would come out of like 6 or 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot remember what I ate for breakfast.
It was years ago, but they used to do it. There's other teams that do it. Some teams just kind of like dim the lights and stuff and like have like cool effects on the ice and stuff like that. But I mean, nothing's beating that wolf coming across the
Sounds sick.
ring. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think Sudbury is in the process of getting a new arena. If you've been to Sudbury, the downtown's not the nicest area. But I think they're building it up by the casino. That's what I
Yeah, they're
heard.
building it like literally 10 minutes away from the actual rink.
Yeah, because the casino in Sudbury is not actually like in Sudbury. It's like on the like 20 minutes outside of Sudbury.
It's on your way into Sudbury.
Yeah. So it'll be good for them to get out of downtown. I feel like they'll have I get more fans that way.
Probably, yeah.
It's not one of the easiest buttons to get to in the OHL, that's for sure. But
Not a lot of parking.
yeah, there's
Which
not.
sucks, because
There's
then you have to walk far and then you have to pay for parking. So but a lot of people in Sudbury, like, I feel like they all travel in groups to go to games. Like, it's a lot of like university students and then like families going. Because I know like Laurentian's sport administration program, like they do a lot of like partnerships with the Wolves. Like I have friends who work for the Wolves, and then I have friends who go to Laurentian because I was gonna go there. And they like a lot just work together, and so it's
Yeah,
partnerships.
I looked into that program, but advanced functions was not on the table for me to take, or calculus or whatever it was. So
Me and my dad in management, I'm chilling at Brock. We're chilling.
not chilling in data right now with my 52, but you know what? It'll get better.
It'll get better.
It'll get better.
Now we'll get into kind of off topic for this podcast, but obviously baseball season's coming up. You're working with the Barrie Baycats. It's a team I've worked for a couple seasons in the last couple of years. So just talk about how you kind of got that role and like how excited you are for this summer to be back at Coach Stadium.
Yeah. So I reached out to Josh, and it was before last season, and I was just telling him how I was kind of getting more dominant role in the sports industry, and I was looking to actually like fulfill my dream of like being a sports reporter, because I had done a lot of like reporting for my school, but I had never done it for like my high school, but I had never done it for like an actual like league in a team, because I for the Colts I did fan experience and player operations. So I reached out to him, and lucky enough, like he was like, yeah, like we'd love to have you. So that was a really good experience for me, because everyone was so amazing and like super welcoming. And I learned a lot like about that, about reporting, social media, like all of that. And I'm definitely like a lot more confident now, and I'm excited for this season because I get to in-game host, but also do reporting and then their social media. And now I obviously have like a huge tournament of in-game hosting under my belt. So I'm like, yes, like I'm so confident for this, and I know that I'm excited to bring what I've learned like to the Baycats. And then also still work on like my reporting and be able to get that opportunity. So I'm excited for that. It'll be a good season. It'll be busy, and I'm excited to bring all that I've learned to the Baycats and just give them the best fan experience ever.
Now, I'm sure you experienced this, but throwback Thursdays with the red uniforms, how sick are those?
Oh, I love those jerseys. I actually really liked when they wore them. I was like, yes, these are so nice. Like I would literally I would get one of those jerseys. Like they're so nice.
Yeah, they do it. I think they're doing it again this year. I hope they do, honestly, because the fans really get into it too, especially in, like the throwback games. Like there's people wearing like the merch around the ballpark and stuff. Like they really shout out to Josh because they really did a good job last year, especially getting like a merch tent and stuff from over the years in the past. I don't remember that from going to Baycats games over the years, but especially last year and the year before, they had the merch table going and like being able to like rep the Baycats and stuff was it's
Yeah.
cool for that. And you obviously kind of experienced it a little bit seeing all these girls around the Hockey Canada girls this year, but just talk about seeing that with the Baycats too, how cool it is for like seeing little kids getting to look up to these guys.
Yeah, so that's like something that has always been like a really like cute moment for me, is just knowing that um like there's so many like idols. My dog. um like the Baycats they're looked up to by like little kids around the Barrie area, because like Baycats are the biggest like baseball team around that area. So it's like really cool to see all those little kids like so excited to go to games and get their signatures. Like that's so heartwarming, and especially with like Hockey Canada, like the Canada team, like so many people are just like, I talked to so many little girls, and they were like, oh, I love Sarah Nurse, like I want to be like her. I want to be on Team Canada. Like that's so special. Like there's probably so many cases like that with the Baycats where they like those little kids are like, I want to be on the Baycats. Like that's just a really cute moment. And I think that's like what makes sports like so unique, because you're always gonna be looked up to. Like even I get looked up to, and I'm just like, I'm 18. Like that's crazy to know that little girls like look up to me. Like I can't even count on two hands how many times I got asked for a picture with like these little girls, and I was like, that's so like inspiring. And that's what keeps me going. Because I'm like, wow, like these girls look up to me, like not even like I don't even play for Team Canada, and they're like looking up to me. So it's really cool, like just to see all the idolization that people like the impact that these players have on little kids, and like honestly anyone.
Now, before I
Yeah,
throw it back to
so
Alyssa
special.
for some more questions here, I don't know if it happened as much as it did in the past couple of years, but there's a fan at Baycats games that gets very vocal and
Tammy?
cheers very loud. It's not Tammy. There's another one. I don't know if you've heard him, but it's Matlow's dad.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Matlow's dad.
Yes, I have heard of him. Yes, and
It's-
I've actually talked to him a few times, and I think he gave me a ride there last year. I think he actually drove me one time. Yes, but I know Tammy because she also is a big Barrie Baycats fan.
Yes, she gets into the games. I stand in the corner shooting my photos in the one corner where she sits for a period most games, and I get to hear Tammy all period long. But she's very invested into it, and I'm sure very
Um,
very passionate. But I can't imagine honestly being a fan sitting in that section now. Just imagine going to a Colts game and that you have to hear Tammy all period long or all game long.
yeah. Oh, well, she's passionate. Fine. Good for her.
Well,
Yeah, no, Matt Loston is so loud, but he's awesome. Like he's so fun because he's always getting like the crowd engaged. Like he's constantly like starting cheers for
yeah.
each guy up to bat. Like he's so fun. I love when he's at games because he's just a good time and like I'm like, well, next year I'm gonna be like this season I'm gonna be like, well, he's my co-host. Like he can literally host this with me. Um, so it'll be really cool. Like I'm excited to see him again and all the energy he brings because he's great. He's awesome.
I didn't get to see this at all because the games that it happened in, it was on the road, but Matlo's played in a couple of games the last couple of years for the team because they're like short players and stuff. So he's jumped into like games, but it's always been on like the road. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to happen at a home game. Hopefully this season he can jump back in and his dad can celebrate here. But I'll throw it over to Alyssa again for some more questions, and I'm sure the Bruins are gonna get brought up. So let's just get on to that at some point.
Okay, well, let's go little Bruins. So, who do you think's gonna score the most goals for us during the
Like
playoffs?
playoffs?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I gotta stick with Pasternak. I think he's
Yeah,
just
I was gonna say pasta.
like he's just reliable at this point. Also, to everyone who knows me and literally like I so for my sport management, like when I first got into the council, we had to do like a hot take, and mine was Dave Pasternak will score more goals than Austin Matthews this season. Everyone take the L because I was right. I was right. So everyone who like knows me, I'm just like read that again. Read it again. I was right. But yeah, I'll say Pasternak just because obviously he's so reliable. And he's just talented. Like this has been his season. And he got really close to McDavid. No one thought that would happen, but he did. Um, so yeah, I would say him.
Okay, passes mullet, rate 1 to 10.
Oh, 10. It
10,
looks
yeah.
so good. It looks so good. I saw that. I was like, Pasternak.
Because almost it was macaroni mullet. Like they tweeted it, and I was like, "Oh my god, don't tell me pasta just got a mullet." And I'm like thinking it's gonna look awful
Yeah.
or something. And then I look, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is like the most. It's so nice."
It's so I love it. It suits him. I was a little bit scared though. I was like, is this gonna be like a curse? Is this gonna
Yeah.
like curse us for playoffs? Like, cause you know how like there's those things where it's like something happens and then you get cursed. I'm just like,
Yeah.
really passed away to get to do that. But we won the first game, so I was like, okay, good. Like this is fine. Um, but yeah, I loved that mullet. It was a good look.
Honestly, sneaky like little thing. I think Bertuzzi's being incredibly underrated here. Like I think he's already got like 3 points, maybe.
Yeah, he's so good. Like he's been great. Like he's a wicked passer. Like literally so talented. And obviously he wasn't like he didn't hop into the team and like didn't put like a huge impact. He's never played with these guys before.
I
He's
know, yeah.
still adjusting and like he's never played with them, but now it's like he just fits in super well because he has a lot to bring to the table. He's also a funny looking guy. Like he's just a funny guy. Like he's so silly to look at. But I love him. He's a Sudbury boy, so if they win the cup, hey, see you in Sudbury. Same with Foligno. You gotta love them.
Yeah,
And
but
then also, oh no, go ahead, Sam.
Foligno can't perform in the playoffs.
He scored last night.
He scored last
Yeah,
night.
but look what he did in Toronto last year. He couldn't perform for us last year.
Well, look, you guys can't perform in the playoffs, period.
I know, but still, like, we're doing it now. This is the year. This
Are
is
you? Oh,
like I
this
don't
is the year. You've only been
honest-
saying that for
I
20
don't
years.
even care. Like, I don't care what happens after the first round. I just want to see them get past the first round. And I mean, the thing I think of right now is with Hedman out of the lineup. He was out
He
of
skated this morning with the team.
yeah, but he skated with the team before game 2. And they
He's at
pulled
practice this morning, I think.
so yeah, but he skated in the morning, game 2, and then they pulled him before the game. I know I don't know what the injury is, and I don't know if Janot's back again. I think he probably is because he slotted in for game 2. But without Hedman in the lineup, I don't think the Lightning can beat the Leafs. And I've heard this from multiple people, including on Spitting Chicklets, that without Hedman in the lineup, the Leafs are winning that series in 6 games.
I think it gives you guys a better opportunity, but like
Yeah.
your goaltending is so streaky that I
It-
like.
It was at the start, but Samsonov had a good game in game 2. Like he bounced back, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but apparently he sat at home with his kid and just watched like poker all day the day after the game, just to like forget about game 1. Like he was just
Sounds fun.
he was sitting at home all day watching poker on TV and didn't rewatch the game just to forget about it. And he goes out and puts up a performance like that. Like I mean, I'm happy to see though. I will say, to have our captain in the lineup this year for playoffs, that's a big thing. Because obviously everyone kind of knows what happened against Montreal when he got hurt, and having him in a lineup like 5 minutes in that series really affected them. But it's good to see. I mean, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Willie Nylander, like he's having such an underrated season. No? Like, who expected him to be doing this?
I like Willie. Like I'd never have like been a hater on him. I'm a Austin Matthews hater to the core. But I love William Nylander. I do love him. I think
He's
he's
just
so
such a
good.
great player.
But like he kind of copied Pasternak, so like kind of a hater. Low key.
Only a little hate. Only a little hate. But he's
because
but like I feel like this is almost a contract year for him. Like this is not gonna go well for you guys.
There's
He's gonna
no,
want way more money and you have no money.
I know it's gonna be tough the next couple of years because Matthews is coming up again. I think
Yeah,
Tavares,
I think after next year, I think
But
Tavares-
if you guys don't make it past first round, he's not staying.
for sure. If you guys don't, he's going to Arizona.
I think he's going to LA.
LA. That's a hot take.
LA. If you look at the appearance of Austin Matthews and you look
Oh
at
my god,
his
he looks like
publicity,
everyone on that team. You're right.
but even like himself as a person, like I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but he's not a team guy. Like he really isn't. He's an individual player, and he would fit into LA so insanely well because think about all the partnerships he would have in LA, all the like media publicity he would have.
That's a hot take, but I'm here for it.
But I could see it. I could so see him going to LA because
And
LA
it's close
like,
to
LA
Arizona
could go
too.
far
Like
with
it's
him.
close to his home. I
Yep.
could see that now that you really say it.
he's
Like,
not gonna.
could go far with him because he would actually bring a lot to them. And
Yeah,
like
they would. And then like that would make the Kings like they're already like I think they're like really underrated. Like I have them beating Edmonton.
Yeah, they're gonna beat Edmonton. There's
Yeah,
no Edmonton's choking right now. Like there's no
They
way they
lost,
should have
Edmonton
lost.
lost last night, right?
Yeah.
They lost in overtime?
Yeah. Were they winning? Because they were winning the first time they
I
lost.
think they were up 2-0 because McDavid scored 2 or something. I remember.
Yeah, so they're choking like because they've
I
done
think it
that
was
twice now. Because they were up 3-1 in game 1 and then lost.
Let's double check here.
I think they were up 2-0. I could be wrong, but
They won. I think. Oh no, it was 1-0 LA, and then McDavid scored 2.
okay, so they've
Like
still
2
win.
minutes. And then they were up 2-1, and then they scored again, and then it went to overtime. They won. Trevor Moore with the overtime winner.
Jesus, wow. It's one guy you wouldn't have to pick. But So what do you guys think? 6 games to the Bruins-Panther series? Like, do you think Boston's just gonna keep rolling, or do you think this could go 7?
Bruins in
If we
6.
win Sunday and we have to go home, we're gonna beat them at home, I think.
So that'd be in what? Yeah, it'd be 6.
So if we win tomorrow, 5.
I
I
have
think.
Bruins in 6.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think I have 5 or 6 as well. I think it might be 5.
It's an afternoon game on Sunday.
Yeah, I have to work at 3:15, so I don't even get to watch the game.
It's
I'm
the-
upset.
It's the American way of hockey. It's been that way for years. It's ridiculous for us up here in Canada, because like they do it in the regular season too. It's because there's other stuff in America at night.
I
they
was
on
looking at
TV.
the Bruins schedule because I was trying to go to Boston for a game, and I swear for like 3 months, every single Saturday and Sunday game, because we always played back to back almost every single weekend, were all afternoon games all the time.
Like the one that I went to was an afternoon game.
Yeah,
Now,
But it was also a family day, so like kind of get it.
that one, yeah, because I almost went to that game too, but the tickets just got so unreasonably priced.
they might also, and I don't know if that happens a lot, but they could have a Celtics game that night. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know
That's true.
how often they would do that. They probably wouldn't do it all season long, but they could. Like, because it takes probably a couple hours just to convert the court.
Yeah, the Bruins do get priority in that arena though, because they
Yeah.
own it technically.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty cool to see what they're doing this year. I think they do have a legitimate chance of winning the cup, as much as I hate to say, but
I'm going to the parade if it happens.
Yeah,
will-
I am too. I'll be
I
there.
I will say though that they run into the Leafs, it's done.
Oh, I have the, you know what? I gave you the benefit of, I took the Leafs to beat Tampa in like 6 or 7, and then I have you getting your ass whooped by us.
Leafs are
like 5.
rolling. They are rolling Boston.
Rolling into a brick wall when you hit
Let me
us.
make this clear right now, and I don't care. This hot take can come back on me when it doesn't happen if we don't make it out of the first round. Leafs in 4 over the Bruins. See ya.
That's actually so bad.
That's
That
a
is
horrible
embarrassing
take.
for you. I'm so embarrassed for you. That is so
What if
embarrassing. That is so not true.
That's not happening. I'm
That's like-
sorry.
That just
Boston
proved
didn't
that you're
lose
just
more
an
than 2 games in
unrealistic.
a row all year.
Yeah, like no. That just proves that you're an unrealistic Leaf fan.
No, it just proves that I have optimism. A team that's gonna fail me again this year. Like, it's gonna happen. Like,
That's so
every
bad.
year.
Don't worry, I'll make
all
sure to
year-
laugh in his face the day it comes for the podcast when we film it. I'll make sure to laugh. I'll get you on FaceTime and we can laugh at him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what? That's so silly.
Oh well, I'll stand by that honestly, because anything can happen in playoffs. Anything can happen in playoffs.
Except for the Leafs winning. That doesn't happen.
Except for a sweep.
I can see it happening. I can see it happening.
That's so unrealistic.
Just I even harder take. Justin Hall's gonna start actually playing defense in this
Oh,
series.
I'm out. Okay,
Justin
I'm
Hall for
leaving.
Norris,
Bye, guys.
honestly.
You guys can finish the podcast without me. I'm done.
Justin Hall for Norris. Like,
Yeah.
wow, just hand it to him at this point. So good. That guy gets so much hate. It's actually so funny.
Because the Leafs always pick one person to bully. They did it to Jake Gardner for years.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if you're bad in the playoffs, you kind of do deserve it. Justin Hall has to be like. I don't get it though, because we have better D below him, and he's in the lineup every single night. I just don't understand it. But before we let Kendra go, I want to bring up the gold medal game, and just talk about that whole experience, and then I also want to talk about the penalty with a couple minutes left, because I feel like that should be talked about. Just so start off with the whole experience. Just talk about working a gold medal game. What did that mean to you? How excited were you walking in that arena?
Yeah, so Medals Day was like, I mean, it didn't really hit until because we had a placement game that morning.
Yeah.
So like you don't like go in with the mindset like, oh my gosh, like this is Medals Day. Like you really don't, because it's like you have a placement game. Like placement games were like whatever. And then you have the bronze game. And like so it was cool, really cool seeing that, but obviously like bronze doesn't compare to gold. and all the Canada fans start showing up there. We had a lot of tailgaters, like a lot of like heavy tailgaters. And like so the ladies that had given us a card, like we go out to them and like we're tailgating with them, we're having a good time before the game, kind of just getting prepared, like ready for the game. And it felt surreal because it's like I had seen all the medals like literally in front of my face, because I had to like kind of help organize it and just make sure everything was like smooth going out. So it was really cool because I was like, wow, like I'm gonna be right here for this, and like to know that I had worked this tournament and kind of like brought in the energy for this medal game. Like it was really, really cool. It kind of a surreal feeling because you watch it on TV. And seeing like medals like in person versus like on TV is so different. It's so different because like you see the true emotion like through these players, and through like everyone in the stands. Like it was a whirlwind of emotions because that building was loud when Canada scored, and then when US scored it was just like crickets. It's like absolutely no noise. And that game was really back and forth. Like it was like Canada scored, US scored, Canada scored. Like it was super back and forth until the third period with 10 minutes left. And after that, it's like it was sad. It was like you really saw the emotions go from like so high to just absolutely everything's down here. And it's like everyone knows what's about to happen and they're not happy because no one likes to lose to the States. It's just a true fact. No one likes to lose to the US. But that was a really, really cool experience. Also kind of bittersweet though, because like we all were like, we don't want to say goodbye to this. Like this sucks. Like that's like the hard thing about these tournaments. It's like you're so excited for the gold medal game, but you're also like so sad about it because you're like, that means it's over. And you don't want it to be over. But like honestly, it was a really cool experience to just be able to be a part of a gold medal game. And it's something that I'm super thankful for. Also, like honestly, like the part that fans don't see is the celebrations after the game. Like we were still at that building until probably about 11. And the US are in their locker room and they're screaming. They're like, USA, USA. They're playing Party in the USA. It was cool to see. Like it sucks, but like it's really cool to see. Like that means a lot to them. They're having a grand old time, and like it's just cool hearing it and like all the emotions, like how much it meant to them and their family and their friends. Obviously you hope it would be Canada, but it's how life goes and it kind of sucks. But it was really, from the experience I had, it was awesome. Like I have nothing bad to say about that whole tournament. It was great. The fans showed up to support women's hockey, which I loved. Like even for games like it's tough, right? Like for these other countries, like their fan bases probably aren't gonna like show up. Like but even France had some fans there. Like they weren't full, but like I'd say every game had at least 100 people in the building. So you can respect that. And I hope that just women's hockey continues to grow.
Yeah, it's tough with the crowd sometimes, and I mean, especially when you have like Switzerland, Germany playing at like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like, there's not gonna be 5,000 people there. Like, it's just the way the tournament is. Like, you're gonna get your fans at the U.S. Canada games, and there's like I went to Germany versus France and USA versus Czechia on the one day of round robin, and there was like 2,500 people for the Czech USA game, which like didn't really shock me, but it was like, okay, that's cool. Like this building's half full for this game, and they got loud in there, and there's still people for the like Germany France that night. But like obviously the games at like, and there was some games at like 8 a.m. too. Like
Don't remind me.
you girls are probably the like most of the fans in there at those games, honestly.
Yeah, like we were talking to ourselves at some games, which is fine. Like it was nice little morning games. Um, but I do wish that like obviously it's hard. It's hard to get fans there at that time. Like it's just realistic. Like it's just how it goes. But the weekends never disappointed. Fridays never disappointed. even like because it was like Easter weekend, so there was the Friday and the Monday, like those were good because people showed up. But yeah, like I'm excited to see if it'll grow some more. It's gonna be different in each country. Like I feel like in a European country you could probably get a few more people there because like those those countries aren't that far away from each other, so like families and friends will like fly out for the week for those tournaments.
It'll be interesting to see next year because it's in New York and
Mhm.
it's not that like from Aurelia, it's like 5 hours
Yeah.
for me. So like Mississauga, it's like be a little bit more because like Utica's out by like Kingston area, so it's kind of harder for like the people in like Mississauga and stuff to kind of get out there because they have to go out like all the way to Kingston and then down. But um yeah, it should be good. But the other thing I want to bring up, and this, if you guys remember from the World Juniors a couple of years ago, Eden Dudas with a couple of minutes left in the gold medal game, he hit the TSN camera, and thankfully that thing was hanging over the glass and it wasn't a penalty for our country. And obviously, Akil Thomas goes and pulls it off. But with a couple minutes left, with the already on the penalty kill, and Claire Thompson picks the puck up on her backhand, and I've honestly probably never yelled so much in my life. Like I was so mad. Like it was just, I just couldn't believe that was the play that was
And
made.
confirmed. Sam did text me and he was like, I'm so mad right now and going off. And I'm like, what is happening? Why? What? And he's like, did you not see what just happened? I'm like, no, I'm at work. And he's like going off. And then I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, in my defense, if it had have been like if she had just backhanded it into like the crowd and it went like first row, okay, that's whatever. You probably saw it better than I did, but that thing looked like it went 50 rows up. Like it looked like she launched that thing into the
It it literally went like right in front of us. Like we were right where it was. Like it was in the section that we always do stuff in, and like everyone was like screaming. They're like, "Why is this happening? Like, what was that? Like, why would you do that?" And it was just a whole drama thing. And we're all like, "Great, there's 10 minutes left, and it's 5-on-3.
yeah.
We're not like they're gonna get scored on. Like it's the U.S.
And
Nothing in our power can keep that puck at the net."
you like there was 49 seconds left on the first penalty, and like Anna was doing a terrific job of killing that off too. Like they probably would have walked away with the 3-2 lead still. It probably would have held on. Like it just, and I think there was like, wasn't it like 6 minutes to go or something? Like it was getting down there, I think.
No, the US got the
No?
power play around
Oh,
10:35.
okay.
They killed it till about 9, and then they scored, they tied it up, and then they got scored on again.
Yeah, the second one came like a minute later. Like it
And
was,
then they just kept scoring.
yeah.
It sucked, but like honestly after they tied it up, all like every fan was like, "Great. It's done." Because they knew that even if like the States were bringing it. Like I'll give it to them. They played really well. Like they're a good team. And Canada just like there was a lot of moments during that tournament where Canada sat back like a lot. Like in almost every game, like they gave teams a chance to catch up, and it's like you can't do that. You can't do that in a gold medal game. You need to dominate, and it sucks, but they're a great team. They won the gold at the Olympics, so honestly, like they can pat themselves on the back for that. Because the men's team for Canada and the U.S. did not do that at the Olympics, and they did. So they can give themselves a pat on the back. It sucks because it is the women's worlds, but you're still the top two teams, and like you know that it's always going to be those teams back and forth. Like it's always going to be them. But it was a really good experience to see that, and all the like the intent like that. Honestly, the whole tournament was super physical. I will not lie. That was a pretty physical game. Because those two teams obviously they don't want to lose. They really don't. But unlucky bounces for Canada. Unfortunately, didn't give them the gold, but it's okay. maybe next year.
Overall, though, it was I feel like a really good year for Hockey Canada because you had the World Juniors for the men at the start, and then the women's under-18 team won. I think it was like a week after World Juniors or something like that.
Yeah. And the women's like this tournament, the women's world won last year.
Yeah, and they won the Olympics like 2 months before too, because it was like a weird year last year where they had the Olympics and then they had the World Championship in the same year because they usually don't do it, but I think the
COVID.
women wanted it, so they're like, okay. And then obviously you had the Summer World Junior Tournament, which was just absolutely electric because you're watching hockey in August and watching Canada win a gold medal, like nothing better than that. But and then they have the men do it again, but yeah, I mean, just the overall experience in that arena, it was like I don't know how many US fans were at that gold medal game, but it was red and white. Like that's all the photos I saw. Like I don't
There
think
was a good amount, honestly. Like they had their own little like section,
oh, yeah.
and like, I say they took up most of the section. Like it was probably family and friends though. But they showed up and they made some noise when they won. Like there was like a lot of like back and forth of USA, and then everyone's like Canada. It's like there was so much of that, but it was like that was like really cool to see. Just like how competitive those two countries are, because obviously it's always gonna be those two back and forth. But yeah, it was great. Like it was really cool to see. I can't imagine the energy in that building if Canada had won. Like if they would have won, like I think that would have been sick.
Yeah, I think the roof would have blown off of that place.
Oh
Like
yeah, there'd be riots outside. I feel like because like they were passionate. Like I'll give them a huge shout out. Like they were great. They were a great group of people, and like a lot of those people had been to the World Juniors too. Like they're just passionate hockey fans.
yeah. I'll throw it over to Alyssa if you have anything else before we wrap up with Kendra here.
I think everything's pretty much been covered to my knowledge.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kendra, for hopping on here. It's been an honor chatting with you about the women's world. You did an amazing job and you have a lot to be proud of. So congratulations on everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Okay. Bye, guys.
I can.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. Alyssa and I are back here. We just want to give a huge shout out right now to Kendra. Amazing person. Thank you so much for coming on. It was amazing to chat with her about that. But back to us now and just our little talk that we have every week here. So we'll start off. Alyssa's Bruins. They're up 2-1 in the series as we record this here on Saturday. What are your overall thoughts on the series so far? It's kind of been back and forth a little bit.
They definitely gave us a run for our money game 1, and well, they beat us game 2. Game 2 we just didn't really show to play. We just we were a little sloppy in my opinion. I did stop. I didn't watch the third period because I was like, okay, not watching this. But we showed up. We played really well yesterday for 55 minutes. Then we did let them score twice in the end. But we showed up for 55 minutes. We played well. And if we play like that, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, and in terms of the Leafs, I haven't actually been able to watch any of the games yet. I've been tied up shooting OHL games, both games the Leafs have been playing, unfortunately. But just an all-around tough first game, just was awful. Don't even want to talk about game 1. But in all fairness, though, the Leafs did cruise to a 5-0 win in game 1 of round 1 last year. So like everyone knows how that went. Like, yeah, obviously it went down in 7, but like they cruised to a 5-0 win. Like, so, and it was against the Lightning too. So, I mean, anything can happen. Look what happens tomorrow. As heats up in game 2. We're tied 1-1 now.
I thought it was Mitchie that got the hat trick and I got excited, but it wasn't because I was at work watching it while getting pumped because everyone was coming in for the game. So I was like kind of dying and trying to like keep up and like argue with all the Leafs fans. For like the listeners who don't know, like I work at a restaurant and it has like a big bar in it, so everyone's coming in for the games. And every time there's a Leaf fan that comes in, I look at them and just go, "I don't like your jersey." And I always have a little argument with some of the customers that come in and like some of the regulars and stuff. But we were getting pumped, but I was still trying to watch the game at the same time, keep up with it.
Yeah, game two, just out of nowhere, the Leafs jump out like Marner 47 seconds in. Like
Mhm.
he had a chip on his shoulder. Everyone did. Everyone looked good. Matthew Nyes, who's coming to the lineup after playing in college
Disgusting.
this year, just like absolutely like insane what he's doing right now, and he should be in the lineup for game three again tonight. I haven't seen anything about
I haven't seen lines either.
tonight, but I'm sure it'll be out sometime at like some point today. It's like it's been Sheldon Keefe asked if there will be any lineup changes today, and he said maybe.
So
So
we might see a couple people bounce, but
Keefe never changes the lineup anyway.
no,
And
you're right. He doesn't very
the,
often.
the people that should have been able to that should be able to line, Justin Hall is going to be in the lineup. So honestly, I don't care what other lineup changes that you do. Like I feel like even like they got to bring Simmer in too. Like Simmons has got to come in the lineup. Like he's got to jump in here. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm in Ajax for one of our exhibition games tonight, so yet again don't get to watch the Leafs game. Shocker! I get to miss.
Don't worry, if you're getting your ass whooped, I'll let you know.
Yeah, okay. I
I'll
appreciate.
give you a nice little text.
Okay, perfect. But other than that, we've had kind of quiet weeks. The last little while, obviously, since hockey season has wrapped up. But I do want to say, and I do want to bring this up.
Sam has been waiting all podcasts to bring this
I've
up.
been waiting all podcasts. Honestly, I've been waiting all year. For the people that don't know, I worked with 4 teams this year. Toronto Junior Canadians, Barrie U18 Colts, Aurelia Terriers, and the Durham West Junior Lightning. And I came on with Durham as a photographer at the end of January, early February. And I've been with them ever since, going back again for next season, which actually starts tonight because we have tryouts. So it was like anyone that's worked with one team, and Alyssa could attest this, the amount of hours you have to put into one team, it's just like it's unbelievable. Like you've
The
got
amount of like driving I've had to do, like
yeah.
I'm still in high school, and like I had been leaving school early so I could get to these farther places with the team. Like the other day, like when we were playing Collingwood in the playoffs, I legitimately didn't go to my last class. I left early, went to the rink, and got on the bus to go to Collingwood. Like it's a lot. You got to put it in. Then I got home at like 12:30 and had to get up the next day and go to school.
Exactly. And the people I don't know, like it was long hours. Like I did it with JOC a bunch this year, where especially near the end of like our playoff run, when we unfortunately lost to Trenton, but we had games where like it was right in the middle of me shooting OHL Cup too. And I was at the rink at 8 a.m. and there was a couple days where we had a home game on the one Thursday night where I was at the rink at 8 a.m. and we played at 7:45 that night. So I didn't get home till like midnight and then had to be up the next morning at 6 to get back to the rink to shoot more games and then go back to Trenton and do all this stuff. And in the midst of all this, we had playoffs for Durham. So for me, Barrie U18s wrapped up in middle of March when we made it to homemade Jays. And we had a terrific year, came up short of the goal that we wanted, but stuff happens. Aurelia lost in the second round to Stainer, so that was done pretty early. But I still had JRC and I still had Durham left. And with the U22s, the way playoffs work is you have your championship weekend and then everyone makes provincials. There's 20 teams in provincial, 6 from our league don't make it. There's 3 that are prep schools that aren't allowed to participate in provincials just because they're a prep school. And then 3 that get bounced from the bottom 8 teams or whatever it is left from championship weekend. So Unfortunately, the day that we lost in Game 7 with JRC, we lost in semis of championship weekend with Durham that morning. So I had a tough loss against London that morning, and we ended up going on to win bronze. And I will say this, and that my dad can attest to this, but we were in the car 10 minutes after that loss to London at championship weekend. And I remember looking at him and saying, everyone better be ready for provincials because no one is beating us. Like, no one's taking that provincial championship away from these girls and our team. Like, I know how much we want this. And I can't tell you how excited I was during that provincial championship weekend when at one point, we had the opportunity to face London in the semifinals. But we ended up taking on Central York because they took down London. But I remember saying to my mom that, hey, like, this is our redemption game here, Sunday morning, gold medal day, like, here we go. But moral of the story is you got to work your ass off sometimes and put in the long hours. And I know Alyssa's going to hate me for this, but at the end of it, for the ones watching on YouTube, you get the provincial gold medal and it's all worth it. So shout out to you, Alyssa, for all the hard work you do with Milton, but the championship came to the right place here for the podcast.
Sam will never let me live it down that he won a championship before me now. Now it's gonna be like, hey, remember when Durham won and then you didn't win one, so I won one before you? That's what he's gonna say to me.
That's gonna be until whoever
until whoever wins the next one, whatever team we're working for at that point.
Yeah. So other than that, it's been great catching up with you as always, Alyssa, and we'll be back probably later in the week. Lots to catch up on. NHL playoffs will be right in the thick of things by the time we record again, probably, honestly. We've got, I think, like, if we go later this week, like Thursday-ish or whatever,
the first round should be almost done.
Yeah, like first round, like the Leafs, I think, can wrap up if they were to win.
You can win in 5.
If they win in
this
5,
is game 3.
Thursday. It's Thursday, I think. Yeah, because tonight, Monday.
Yeah, because you place,
Tonight, Monday.
Game 3 tonight.
Thursday. Yeah, so 3's tonight, 4's Monday, and 5 is Thursday, and then 6 is Saturday, and then 7 is Monday. So
probably something like that.
And the Bruins should be wrapped up by then too, I'm assuming. I think they play tomorrow, I believe. And then so we should be pretty well wrapped up first round by the time we're back. But thank you as always, Alyssa.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out for like good 5 seconds.
It's all good. Anyway, thank you for the listeners as well. I know this is a little bit of a longer episode for you guys today, but I hopefully it's worth it. We're gonna start really getting some guests on here in the next little while, because obviously Alyssa and I have stuff to do in the summer. We have lives of our own, so our kind of goal is to get some of them done in the next little while here, and then just pump them out throughout the summer. So a lot of
try our best. I'm gonna be working a lot on vacation.
Yeah, like a lot of things over the summer for us really is just going to be, honestly, like, we'll catch up with people about their seasons and stuff, and then
off-season stuff.
And
also our off seasons of being able to mentally rekindle ourselves after working through the hockey seasons.
Yeah, so we'll have some pretty big guests on. We're lining up some big ones that hopefully everyone can enjoy. And up into next year, it's going to be a long ride next season, especially. So it'll be good. But who knows? Maybe even next year we can even get a live one in somewhere. We could go to a game and do like a live podcast.
Well, when we find out when JRC and the Menace play, I'll make sure I get to that game.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And I'll show up a little early, and we can.
I want to play you guys in preseason again. That's got to happen. I'll make that happen.
We'll see. I'll definitely be there for that game.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. We'll play you guys in preseason again, because we did last.
Play eventually.
I think we did the last 2 years in preseason. Yeah, we did. The last 2 seasons we've played you guys in preseason. So
we played you at like a different rink. I feel like we played you here at like Sherwood.
I forget what rink it was, but it wasn't your home rink had issues that day.
Yeah, I think it was at Sherwood, which is like behind me. But
Yeah, it's like
That's a nice rink too.
5 minutes away or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very far.
Because I've never been to your rink actually, because we never played there last year, and then we didn't.
Yeah, I've never been to the rink because I didn't get to go because that game. Because like at the point when this year I really only went to home games or games that were like close by. Because like
close
for me
by.
going. What? Oh, you? Okay, well like you're like far kind of.
went
If you're
to
not within like half an hour, you're too far.
You went to Pickering and not us. That's
Okay,
embarrassing.
well that was playoffs. It was different. And that's after I got my mom on board. She's like all in now. She's like, she wants to buy season tickets. She's all in. She's all in for junior A hockey. It's cute.
We'll get her JRC season tickets. Come support her.
No, that's just she's actually the biggest Milton Menace fan there is out there.
Yeah, well, JRC is better.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But as always, Alyssa, thank you, and we'll be chatting soon.